Now that you've learned the fundamentals of RevOps, I want to walk you through how to build and assemble the dream team to fuel your company's growth. In this module, we're going to cover the charter and responsibility of RevOps. We're going to go through the maturity of RevOps organizations. We'll cover the roles and skill sets needed on your RevOps team, the operating cadence of a RevOps department, and how to measure the success of your RevOps team. The first thing I want to cover is the charter and overall responsibility of revenue operations. After going through all of this content, I'm sure it's pretty clear by now that RevOps is not sales ops. You may have a lot of RevOps teams out there that are calling themselves RevOps, but are really only focused on the sales ops aspects of the discipline and not truly looking at the whole go-to-market lifecycle. The entire purpose of revenue operations is to align all go-to-market teams, sales, marketing, customer success, partnerships, finance, and even your product team at coming up with a comprehensive go-to-market strategy that aligns goals, operating cadences, technologies, and processes across all of these teams. The true purpose of revenue operations and why any organization is going to make a heavy investment in this business function is to increase the overall productivity and efficiency of the go-to-market system as a whole. The intent of the RevOps investment, and a big part of the RevOps charter, is to ensure that all of these teams are operating at the highest level possible and are not taking their time away from being in market, spending time with customers, and crafting the art that they have to do in the field. RevOps is also there to provide decision support to executive teams to make sure we're making the best decisions possible. Are we investing in the right marketing channels? Are we hiring sales reps at the exact time we should be? Are we putting the right amount of carry on our CSMs and giving them the best chance to win? And are we investing in the right partnerships and channels that can create that leverage that really boosts the go-to-market strategy forward? RevOps is there to get the data necessary to make these decisions and make sure that you're making the smartest bets possible. With the intimate operating and data knowledge that a RevOps team has, RevOps should also really be leading the planning and go-to-market strategy discussions. Being a neutral department across all of these go-to-market teams, you have a really unique perspective and access to the right data to give a really strong recommendation of how to invest in the go-to-market teams next. As a RevOps leader, just remember, your charter is to look at the overall go-to-market infrastructure, not just one department, not just one team, and doing everything you can to maximize the productivity and efficiency as a whole. I want to walk through how RevOps teams typically come to be and go through the different maturity levels of a RevOps function. The very first edition of a RevOps team is no RevOps team at all. Typically no sales ops or marketing ops either. It's really a group of individual contributors that are handling all of the operations on their own. You may have a sales rep who's managing the CRM. You may have a marketer who's pulling all the go-to-market data and presenting to leadership. Or you may have a CSM that's doing revenue reporting. The first version of RevOps is really with individual contributors, and that pain that those individual contributors are going through is usually what causes the first level of investment into dedicated operational roles. After individual contributors had been doing their own ops, usually you'll find some level of investment in sales ops, marketing ops, or even customer success ops. These operational roles are designed to take that burden off of the individual contributors, the people who are in the field with customers every single day, and making sure that they're focused on the highest leverage activities that they can be. What usually happens next is you end up with dedicated operational roles per function. You have somebody leading sales ops, you have somebody leading marketing ops, somebody leading customer success ops, and maybe even somebody leading partner ops. And they're doing a fantastic job of taking that operational burden off of the individual contributors and streamlining a lot of processes and systems that are dedicated to that department. But what tends to happen is those teams are not collaborating with each other and they're not looking out for the interests of other departments, even though their goals are very interrelated. So what happens next is something really important. the very first revenue operations department is formed, where you take those operational roles from those go-to-market teams and you put them under one department. This is a really important step because it enables the ability to have that neutral position across sales, marketing, CS, and partnerships, and gives you the authority and autonomy to develop the right processes, bring the right technologies that overall enhance the go-to-market system, not just one department at a time. This is also the first time where you really start to get interlocked goals, ones that relate to one another and follow that go-to-market lifecycle process. As an example, when we went through growth modeling, to hit our revenue goals, we had to align bookings targets to sales qualified lead targets, to marketing qualified lead targets, to brand awareness. And your first version of RevOps will really start to bridge those gaps and align those departments with interlocked goals. Once you've had a RevOps team in place for a while, you started to align data, you're starting to get a rhythm of processes and your go-to-market function forming. The next level of RevOps is a team that is providing insights to executive leadership. Before this step, your company may not have even had access to some of the data needed to make necessary growth decisions. Things like conversion rates, sales cycles, CS carry capacity. A lot of this data may not have been tracked, or at least not tracked accurately, and you may not have benchmark data to use for any growth modeling. Now that you've had a RevOps team developing the right systems, tracking the right data, and getting in a rhythm of reporting, you have a good understanding of what your benchmarks are, what areas in the process may be bottlenecks, and then using that information to give recommendations to executive leadership for growth modeling, capacity planning, and taking your company to the next level. The ideal state of your revenue operations department is really being the function that is leading go-to-market strategy and leading go-to-market planning. Not simply making recommendations for somebody else to make a decision, but creating those recommendations and then deciding on what path makes the most sense to invest in the future. It typically takes a couple planning cycles to get enough trust with the team, confidence in your own function, to get to the point where you can make the recommendations and create business cases for exactly where your company should invest next. If you're not here as a department yet, don't worry, most revenue operations teams are not, but as long as you're making progress towards that state, that's what's important.